Check, check.
Good evening. I will now call the April 26th, April 28th City Council meeting to order. Tim, pledge, please.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you.
Please follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if we could please call the roll.
Councilmember Bruins is absent. Councilmember Daniels.
Here.
Councilmember Miller.
Here.
Vice Mayor Schaefer.
Here.
And Mayor Middleton.
Here. Next item.
Tonight's meeting of the Citrus Heights City Council is cablecast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast Consolidated Communications and AT&T U-verse cable systems. This meeting is closed caption and live streamed at citrusheights.net. Tonight's meeting replays on Monday, May 2nd at 9 a.m. on Channel 14. This meeting can also be viewed on the city's YouTube channel.
Next item, please.
Next item is approval of agenda.
Approval. Second.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Schaefer, second by Miller. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next item, please.
Next item, we have presentation number 4. It's a proclamation of the City of Citrus Heights recognizing National Therapy Animal Day as April 30th.
Daniels, would you please present?
Absolutely. Hold on, hold on. So research that shows that therapy animals can make a difference in our lives in a wide variety of ways. They improve mental wellness by decreasing fear, anxiety, loneliness, and isolation. Therapy animals and their partners positively affect our community and residents in need. We are thrilled to welcome Mrs. Buxton and her pet partner Quincy here tonight as we recognize National Therapy Animal Day. And I'm going to come down and I'm going to read a proclamation for you, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, so the city of Citrus Heights recognizes April 30th, 2022 as National Therapy Animal Day. And whereas there are thousands of Pet Partners therapy animal teams serving in communities across the United States, and whereas Pet Partners has designated April 30th as National Therapy Animal Day, and whereas Pet Partner therapy animal teams in the city of Citrus Heights play an essential role in improving human health and well-being through the human-animal bond, and whereas Pet Partner therapy animal teams make millions of visits per year in settings such as hospitals, nursing homes, schools, and hospice. And whereas Pet Partner therapy animal teams interact with a variety of people in our community, including veterans, seniors, patients, students facing literacy issues, challenges, and those approaching end of life. And whereas these exceptional therapy animals who partner with their human companions bring comfort and healing to those in need. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Citrus Heights does hereby proclaim April 30th, 2022 as National Therapy Animal Day and encourage our citizens to celebrate our therapy animals and their human handlers. Further, I publicly salute the service of therapy animal teams in our community and in the communities across the nation. In witness whereof we have set our hand and sealed this date, 28th of April, 22, and it's signed by the mayor. Thank you very much. And we're going to turn around, take a little picture.
Good evening. Thank you for the chance to come here, and Quincy, thanks you too. We are now retired due to the fact that he has some back issues and I have some other leg issues. But he received a title for over 80 hours of volunteering. We were both visited at Shriners Hospital with the children there, and he loves little kids. And we also worked with several different situations where, like at Intel and at another business where the workplace people would come in and we'd have like 6 dogs around the room, and the groups of people would go from one dog to the next, and it would just calm them during the day. And one of the things that I didn't expect when I started helping as a volunteer at Shriners was that not only was it the kids in the hospital beds that we helped, but the parents waiting for surgery. It calmed them down to have a dog to see. And he also knows a few tricks. And so the kids would enjoy, seeing that and stuff. And so anyway, it's been a wonderful experience working with Pet Partners. And I'm delighted that, you guys have given a proclamation. Thank you from Citrus Heights, where I live. And, this is just a great thing. And we want more and more people to be aware of it so that they can benefit from it. And so they can also join with their dog. And also it includes cats and some birds and ponies and little, miniature horses and other animals. So it's really a great program. So thank you all.
Thank you.
And our next proclamation.
Our next item, number 5, proclamation of the City of Citrus Heights proclaiming April as Fair Housing Month.
And Vice Mayor, if you would take that over.
Thank you. So April is Fair Housing Month, and this marks the 54th anniversary since the enactment of the Federal Fair Housing Act of 1968. Fair Housing Act prohibits discrimination in the sale, rental, financing of the dwellings and other housing related transaction based on race, color, national origin, sex, familial status, and disability. The city participates in a regional partnership that contracts with Sacramento Self-Help Housing to operate the Renters Helpline, a key component of the city's efforts to establish equal housing opportunity for all the residents, and further has supported efforts through the implementation of a Renters Helpline. I'd like to invite John Foley from Sacramento Self-Help and Ryan Reyes from the Project Sentinel to accept this proclamation. Proclamation of the City of Citrus Heights proclaiming April as Fair Housing Month. Whereas Fair Housing Month is celebrated each April across the United States to commemorate the enactment of the Federal Fair Housing Act of 1968, and whereas the Housing Act prohibits discrimination in the sale, rental, and financing of dwellings and other housing-related transaction based on race, color, national origin, religion, sex, familial status, and disability. And whereas, as we recognize Fair Housing Month, it is timely that we reflect on the importance of in communities, states, and national and the nation to affirm civil rights and oppose bigotry and discrimination. And whereas the City of Citrus Heights affirms that every American who's in choosing where they want to live has the right to live in dignity and safety without fear of discrimination, and that the city supports state and federal protections against discrimination in the sale and rental of housing. And whereas the City of Citrus Heights supports the education of homeowners, realtors, landlords, property managers, home buyers, and tenants regarding their rights and responsibilities under the federal and state fair housing laws. And whereas the City of Citrus Heights is proud of its commitment to fair housing, while recognizing the need to affirmatively further fair housing in its policies and practices, and is committed to continuing to work to identify and remove impediments to fair housing choices. Now, therefore, it be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Citrus Heights does hereby proclaim the month of April 2022 as Fair Housing Month, and confirms its commitment to ensure there is equal access to housing for every member of our community. Witness hereof in the mayor's hand. I'm going to present this presentation to you. All right, nice to meet you. Okay, so.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, thank you. Good to see you again. Particularly pleased to be here this evening because one of the things that sometimes happens with landlords is they freak out about dogs. And even when they have a no pet policy, if someone has a dog that's a support animal, that's no longer a pet. And often the Renters Helpline is taking calls like that, and seeing the dog here just reminded me of how valuable they are to people. Might go on to say that dogs are one of the key supports for people who are unhoused. And one of the things that we always try to do when we're moving someone inside is to find a way to accommodate the animal as well as the person, so that they can continue to have that emotional support. Very important. We're not attorneys, so we don't do legal stuff. But sometimes legal stuff needs to get done, that landlords really need to get reminded of what their responsibilities are. And so we contract with Project Sentinel to have a legal mind and a legal voice. And Ryan is here to speak a minute about that work. So thank you.
My name is Ryan Reyes. I'm a staff attorney with Project Sentinel, and thank you to the City of Citrus Heights for declaring this as Fair Housing Month. Just a brief history on the fair housing. It was the passage of the Fair Housing Act that led to April being Fair Housing Month. Fair Housing Act was passed on April 11th. This was a week after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King on April 4th. That led to the passage of the Fair Housing Act. Now more than ever, like, housing is just a top concern of statewide, nationwide. The Fair Housing Act helps bring down one of those barriers to finding housing, which again is a priority nationwide. So the Fair Housing Act continues to grow and continues to protect, different categories of people. The newest protection is for voucher holders. So currently, voucher holders, there can no longer be policies where a landlord denies a voucher holder for renting solely because they are a voucher holder. And that's how fair housing rights, they protect members of our community that do need that protection. So again, I'd like to thank the city for recognizing this as Fair Housing Month. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Our next item is presentation number 6, presentation by Republic Services, their annual report and recognition of the 2022 scholarship winners.
All right. Good evening, Mayor Middleton, Vice Mayor Schaefer, and council members. I am so happy to be here in person. This is my first Citrus Heights Council meeting in person in a couple years. And I had to plan an entire outfit because you were not just looking at me behind a screen. I couldn't just wear a t-shirt and a blazer. I would like to introduce Ray. Ray is our new municipal administrator, our public services. He is not the newest, but one of the newest people on our team. And he's helping me manage the contract that we have with the city of Citrus Heights to provide waste services for all 27,000 homes. So he will be giving the presentation tonight. I, for once, will be handing the spotlight over to someone else, but I will be available for questions at the end. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, City Council, residents of Citrus Heights. I'm not getting a proclamation today for trash and recycling, but I'm excited today to be presenting the annual report and our scholarship recipients for the Sustainability Scholarship. So for 2021, our annual report. Thank you. I'll go briefly through COVID-19 because we're all kind of behind it now. We have had all of our frontline workers working throughout this whole transition, but our administrative staff have just now come back to the office and we are working very well. Slide. Public services. We proudly offer these services to the residents of Citrus Heights, including trash and recycle, green waste, and all below there. We also provide the service guide with all the information about the services that we provide and any changes happening in the upcoming year. For 2021, our outreach and education highlights. This past year, we hosted the Citrus Heights poster contest. It was open to all Citrus Heights resident students, and the winning posters were posted in the customer service guide for 2022. Continue on for outreach and education. Last year, we hosted 2 compost bin offers. We did them as a drive-through. So in the past, we would have people come in, learn about composting. For the last couple of years, we've done it in drive-through and tentative this year to be doing it back in person. For 2021 materials collected, firstly, the landfilled items, trash, illegal dumping, and bulky items. And diverted, AKA recycled. We had green waste recycling, bulky items, batteries, used oil, oil filters, appliances, e-waste, and household sharps. Through our curbside services, residential campaigns, collection, drop-off events, and education, the City of Citrus Heights and Republic Services have achieved an annual residential diversion level of 47%, well above our contractual minimum. Now, I have the pleasure of presenting the Sustainability Scholarships for 2022. This is presented by Republic Services, City of Citrus Heights, and San Juan Education Foundation. First, I'd like to introduce Colleen Cadwallader, the Executive Director of San Juan Education Foundation.
Thank you, Ray. Mayor Middleton, Vice Mayor Schaefer, esteemed council members, glad to be with you tonight. As Ray said, I'm Colleen Cadwallader, the Executive Director of the San Juan Education Foundation. Founded in 1991, we've been supporting and advancing excellent education for all San Juan Unified students. One of the ways we do that is through a broad scholarship portfolio, and we're thrilled to partner with the City of Citrus Heights and with Republic Services to honor and celebrate some seniors who are going on to continue their education, and more importantly, to also champion sustainability. Thank you so much for your support, and congratulations to our winners tonight.
Thank you. So the Sustainability Scholarship, we offer 3 scholarships, $1,000 each for graduating seniors from the San Juan Unified School District who are Citrus Heights residents. The winners are interested in pursuing a degree in sustainability or a degree that will benefit the environment. And it also includes an essay contest. Our first recipient, Mike Maslianka. He's a graduate of Del Campo High School, a high school that Citrus Heights residents often attend. Mike plans to attend UC Davis. He is a first-generation college student, and his family has immigrated here from the Ukraine before he was born. Next is Danielle Pickens. She's here with us today. She's a graduate of Del Campo High School. Danielle plans to attend William Jessup University. Interesting thing about Danielle, she's currently writing a book, hoping to write 2 of them and have them published soon. Next recipient is Aubrey Moore. Aubrey Moore is a graduate from Mesa Verde High School. Aubrey plans to attend Sierra Community College, and she is the graduating valedictorian of her class. So best wishes to our 3 graduating seniors. We'd like to take a picture with the City Council with our recipients today, and that will be concluding my presentation today. Thank you.
We were ready.
There you go.
Okay. Next item, please.
Next item, presentation number 7, is a presentation by Gary Goodman with the SAC YOLO Mosquito and Vector Control District. And Mr. Goodman is participating via Zoom tonight. So welcome.
Yes, I hope everyone can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Perfect. And just hopefully now I'm sharing my screen. Can you see the screen?
Yes, we can.
All right, wonderful. Well, I
Nice.
want to thank the mayor and the city council for inviting me out again to talk a little bit about mosquito control, specifically as we get going in the beginning of mosquito season, and specifically one of the biggest challenges that we have upcoming, obviously, is disease transmission, and specifically West Nile virus. And so our district covers both Sacramento and Yolo County. Our main office is in Elk Grove. We also have an office in Woodland that covers our Yolo County operations. And essentially our mission is to try to protect public health from vector-borne diseases. And a vector-borne disease is typically is a disease in such as West Nile virus, which is actually a bird disease, and it's vectored by mosquitoes. So a mosquito bites an infected bird, picks it up, transmits it to another bird or to a horse or to a human. And so our goal is to be able to try to monitor these vector-borne diseases and then protect the public through a number of different means and methods. So our technicians go out on a daily basis and they're looking for sources such as these that you see on the screen. So mosquitoes breed in water. They need water to be able to go through their larval stages. And so anywhere from backyard swimming pools that are being unmaintained to rice fields or irrigation ditches, wetlands. But the biggest challenge that we have are the things that we can't see from the street, the things that are in people's backyards. And specifically after the recent rains that we had just last week, you get a number of containers that are in people's yards that may fill up with water. And anytime water is standing for more than 72 hours, it can be a perfect breeding ground for mosquitoes. And so what we do is we try to ask the public to take a look around their yard once a week for any standing water in dog dishes or buckets or coffee cans. Anything that can hold water for more than 3 days can be a breeding ground. And so we ask those folks to just empty those containers out. And of course, if you're seeing mosquitoes and being bothered by that, to give the district a call. So our district goes through what we call an integrated mosquito management approach, and specific starts with public information. We have a very active social media campaign. We do advertisement on the radio, television, and print. We go out to a lot of fairs. In fact, I think in Citrus Heights, we'll be out at Sunday Fun Day, which will be in September. But we do a number of presentations and school presentations just to try to get the word out for people to understand what mosquito diseases are and how they can help try to prevent themselves. We also have an extensive surveillance program. And when we say surveillance, this is us setting mosquito traps in and around all throughout our district and monitoring those traps for specific mosquitoes. Within our area, we have about 22 different species of mosquitoes. Not all of them transmit disease, but they all can bite and become an annoyance. And of course, the ones that we monitor more closely are the ones that can transmit diseases such as West Nile virus. And so we monitor these, the locations throughout the district to see what the populations are doing. Are they rising? Are they falling? And then, of course, testing, bringing those mosquitoes back and testing them for disease. And then if we find disease, then we mobilize our staff out to particular areas to try to look more intensely for any of those potential mosquito breeding sources that we might find. Then we have a biological control program. In the middle of the screen there, you see those little fish. These are called Gambusia affinis, and these are what we call mosquito fish. At our facility in Elk Grove, we have 22 ponds that are dedicated towards breeding these fish, and we plant about 3,500 pounds of fish per year throughout just Sacramento and Yolo County, in places like backyard swimming pools or rice fields, wetlands, irrigation ditches, even horse troughs. We're probably the largest mosquito fish breeding facility in the country, and very proud of our program there. Then we have an ecological management department, and this department has some heavy equipment. We work with landowners to be able to try to help facilitate and eliminate mosquito breeding on their property. So we work with U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, California Department of Fish and Wildlife, the Nature Conservancy, Cosumnes River Preserve, large landowners that may have irrigation that backs up on their water on their land to where they're breeding mosquitoes that are then having an impact on this on the surrounding neighborhoods. And so we work with those areas to make sure that they're implementing what we call best management practices to minimize mosquito breeding on their property. The other component to the ecological management is actually the use of drones. And so over the last few years, we've had a number of drones that take pictures for us, and using various filters and LiDAR type things, we are able to see exactly where the water is and be able to make applications via drone as well. So a very efficient means to be able to try to be more effective at our job. And then the last aspect of the integrated pest management is what we call chemical control. And this is when we do find those mosquito breeding sources, those rice fields, those irrigation ditches, those types of things, we're treating those mosquitoes in their aquatic or larval stage. And so we want to try to get them while they're still in the aquatic stage before they emerge as adults, because once they emerge as adults, then they're looking to take a blood meal and they're looking to bite. And we want to try to minimize that impact by trying to get them in their aquatic or water stages. So here's a brief snapshot of West Nile virus activity in California over the last few years. As you can see, in 2021 was actually a pretty low year in terms of both mosquito samples that were collected in California and the number of human cases. But one thing I do want to try to highlight here is the fact that human cases typically get reported because they become more what we call the neuroinvasive form of the disease, which can require hospitalization. And so a lot of times the symptoms of West Nile virus are flu-like symptoms, something that we've become very familiar with over the last couple of years because COVID has had similar symptoms as well. And so a lot of times when people get sick, get stricken with West Nile virus, they may not even know that they have it. And so they get flu-like symptoms, they stay home for a few days, they recover, and everything is fine. They never actually go to the doctor and or get tested. And so for every neuroinvasive form or serious form of the disease, CDC estimates that there are another 30 to 70 cases that go unreported. So really, you're talking about thousands of cases throughout California of people that are impacted by West Nile virus. And so, and while we say the flu-like symptoms, they can be very mild and people recover within a week, but sometimes these symptoms can last for weeks on end and even months. And so we want to make sure that people are aware that it is a very serious disease, but there's very simple precautions that they can take to try to help prevent it. Here's a snapshot of West Nile virus activity within Citrus Heights specifically. The red circles are positive mosquito samples that the district collected at the time, and the triangles are positive birds. As I mentioned, West Nile virus is a bird disease. It's carried by birds and vectored by mosquitoes. And so when we find these locations, we then do expanded surveillance around these areas and start doing more intensive looking for mosquito breeding sources and, of course, treatments. And so as you can see, even just on the outskirts of the city, we had a little bit more of that activity. And so we want to make sure that people are aware that this is an ongoing concern and that there's some simple things that they can do to try to help prevent them. One other concern that we have is invasive mosquitoes. And so as I mentioned, we have about 22 different species of mosquitoes that are endemic to the Sacramento Valley that we have here in our district. However, over the last few years, we've actually detected a new mosquito, Aedes aegypti. It's called the yellow fever mosquito. And this is one that is endemic down in South America, Central America, Mexico, and it's become established now in California. And so the challenge with this particular mosquito, one, is that it likes to bite humans, it likes to bite people, and it prefers to breed in areas around people's homes. And so a lot of those backyard sources that you saw in the photo a few slides ago are the exact sources where these particular mosquitoes are looking to breed. And so the challenge with this mosquito is that it is a very efficient vector of more exotic diseases such as Zika, dengue, and chikungunya. And so these are diseases that we have had in the US, and we want to make sure that when we do get them, if we don't have this right, if we have this right type of species of mosquito, Aedes aegypti, become established, then we could have the local transmission of these types of diseases. And so we want people to be aware of that. And then obviously, if they're being bothered by mosquitoes, give us a call. Typically, we come out within 24 hours to assess the situation and give you any feedback as to what you can do in your own yard to be able to try to combat them. We have detected invasive mosquitoes in Citrus Heights. In 2019 was our first detection in Citrus Heights of these particular Aedes mosquitoes. And we've also found it, as you can see from the map, in areas just outside of the city as well. But again, this is something that has started to become established in our area, and we want people to be aware of what the challenges are and to be able to know that they can give us a call and let us know so that we can come out and assess their situation. When we do find these particular species of mosquitoes, we do extensive outreach. A lot of it becomes door-to-door activity, knocking on doors, putting out information, door hangers, and just general educational pamphlets so that the residents are aware of what the risks are and what to do about them. And then, of course, we do very intensive inspections on these particular types of mosquitoes, looking in various containers that are in people's backyards. And so it is a very labor-intensive control effort to be able to try to do it. But what we really need is the help from the public to be able to identify, are you being bothered by mosquitoes? Please give us a call so that we can come out and assess that. With that, I know in the audience, your Citrus Heights appointed member is Dr. Jana Karpinski-Costa. Hopefully she's waving right now at the council. And she has, I believe, come by to drop off mosquito repellent. And so we do offer mosquito repellent to anyone who would like it, specifically if you have evening events that are going to occur as we start to get into mosquito control season. Please give us a call. We'll be more than happy to drop those repellent packets off. We want it to be used. We buy that stuff by the pallet, so we have a lot of it. And we want people to be aware that, again, they can try to protect themselves by using a good repellent so that they're not being bitten. And with that, you can get more information on our website at fightthebite.net or give us a call directly at 1-800-429-1022. And with that, I can answer any questions that the council may have.
Any questions? Oh, please.
Thank you, Gary. Great presentation. You guys are always super good with that. So I do have a question with regard to if you determine that there is a particular source of, say, a backyard swimming pool, what are the limitations for your access to that? And if you're unable to get in touch with the owner of the property, what kind of recourse, what can you do? And I just, that would satisfy some curiosity for me. What's the recourse if you're unable to get in touch with the homeowner?
Yeah, we get into about, I'd say 98% of properties that we're looking at specifically that have backyard swimming pools. It's really a matter of if we'll reach out with door hangers. We'll use public records to be able to try to make phone calls, those types of things. But if we can't get access, or if they're refusing access, then we do have what we call abatement authority, and we'll get a search warrant through the county. And then we'll come out with the police and they'll escort us into the backyard. We try not to go to that point because it just becomes a little bit more confrontational, and that's not exactly what we're looking for. But we do get mostly compliance from people because it's a free service. Essentially, we're only going to be in your backyard for just a few minutes, assess the problem, and then treat it appropriately. And so most people are very receptive to that. But if somebody is refusing to get us in and or we're not able to, then we have the authority to be able to get a search warrant.
Thank you so much for your presentation.
Great. Thank you very much. I appreciate the time.
Next item, please.
The next item is comments by council members and regional board updates.
Mr. Daniels, kick us off.
Okay, not too much. Before she walks out, I just want to say it's a pleasure to see the Honorable Dr. Karpinski Costa here.
Progresses, I'll give updates.
Very nice. Very good to see you, and the guy you're with too. There, he's okay too. So, board meeting, air board meeting this morning. Not a whole lot to report out of it. Couple of things. There is some good funding that's coming from the federal level all the way down into the local level, and I will hopefully talk to some staff about that and making sure that we're reaching out if we want to for that. There was some discussion, a little bit of discussion on the preliminary budget and whatnot. Nothing really exciting to report out of that. Pretty much status quo. And then there was some discussion regarding the, and I'm going to be careful here. So just the very unprofessional article put out by the Sacramento Bee about a week ago regarding Sacramento and having something like 7th filthiest air in the country or something. And the remarkable thing about the article is that completely wants to ignore that we live in a bowl to begin with, and we suffer when there are fires that come into our area. And the most telling thing is they didn't even pick up the phone and try to call the director of the Sacramento Air Quality Board to discuss the issue. So just a hit piece, and nothing surprising coming from the Sacramento Bee, but hopefully the directors will write a rebuttal to what they wrote. But my point of bringing it up is if you read it, I want to assure you that tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars are being spent to clean the air in Sacramento. It's probably cleaner than it's ever been. Those of us that grew up here certainly know that it's much cleaner today than when we were growing up. And so just be assured that a lot of activity and a lot of things do occur to give us healthy air here. And I will leave it at that. So yeah, I think, on the 30th, day after tomorrow, is National Drug Take Back Day, April 30th. There are 2 places that I'm aware of in the area that you could take your no longer wanted or expired medications. Please don't flush them down the toilet. The little fishes don't want them and whatnot. And so from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., you can take them to the Sheriff's Department at 4510 Orange Avenue, and that's down Auburn Boulevard going towards Winding Way or American River College area. And then the other one is Roseville High School, which is One Tiger Way over in the area of the old Roseville, kind of going over towards Sunsplash and over in that area. So please do that. Don't let them sit around. Very unfortunate incident occurred just this last week in Mesa Verde High School regarding a drug overdose situation, and leaving them sitting there when they're no longer going to be used is reckless. And so please find a way to properly dispose of them, and that is the best way to do it. And the final thing I want to bring up is yesterday I had the pleasure and honor to attend the state of Natomas, North Natomas area specifically, mainly. And the thing I found remarkable about that, and I've been spending a little bit of time out in Natomas lately, is that they have about 70,000 people, whereas we have about 85,000 or so roughly. And when I go around and I look at that area and see what they've been able to do there, it kind of makes me wonder why we're not a little bit glossier. That's the way I'm going to put it. Okay. We have a lot of great things. Citrus Heights is an incredible city. It's vibrant. It's alive. It's all those things. But somehow some of the surrounding areas tend to find a way to get more money, and it's unfortunate. It just, again, this is not a put down of Citrus Heights in the least in any way whatsoever. But I think that there are better things in the future for Citrus Heights, and the ability to do things that you see if you do visit the area of Natomas and whatnot are achievable. And we just have to, I think, just keep aiming higher, and we'll see even more here. And that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels. Mr. Miller?
Thank you, Mayor. I did not have any regional meetings between our last meeting and now. I did have a mega regional meeting on Capital Corridor, JPA, which is about 7 counties from San Jose here to, I guess that'd be Santa Clara County, to Sacramento County and areas in between that Capital Corridor travels. We had an update on, now listen to this, minimum viable product, MVP, that is being launched under the Integrated Travel Project, CAL-ITIP. What that means in government speak is they're trying to come up with a way that we can pay for transit, whether it be trains, buses, vans, or light rail, with the same method, whether it be here at Sacramento Regional Transit, which we have the pilot project, or BART, or Capital Corridor, or anywhere, Los Angeles, San Diego, on any of the transit systems. So they're working to make everything, that's one of the phases of CAL-ITIP. The other is kind of making connections, making sure that the trains show up at the same time the buses do. Everybody gets off and gets on, and it all works. So there's a great effort to coordinate these things for connections and making it easier to pay. So you just carry a card. Now, it's also easier because you don't have to sell monthly passes. It'll track how many times you use it. If you use it enough times, it qualifies, discounts your rate. There's so many things that can be done so much easier. So looking forward to that. Quick update on the 3rd track, which will run from Sacramento to Roseville. Currently, there's 2. Design will complete about March 2023, and construction begin in about April 2027. So there's your update, and I'll get back to you in 23 and let you know how that's going.
Vice Mayor Schaefer.
Thank you, Mayor. So I had a library board meeting today. We were unable to achieve a quorum last Thursday, which was the plan. Apparently, there is some pretty significant confusion with regard to the Brown Act requirements for electronic meetings. And it seems like a lot of different agencies are treating that very differently. I understand the requirement from the council, from the library board, was that the entity has to declare a public safety issue in order to keep the electronic meetings going. So bottom line is, so we couldn't reach a quorum last week. We did reach a quorum this week. 15 out of 15 board members. We had 8 board members show up. And this was a challenge because all of the board members, in order to attend the meeting, you have to state where the board member is reporting from. That'd be your home address, and it has to you have to be able to have public access to that location. So some serious challenges we're getting into, and now we're moving to a hybrid program, and I think we're going to have to figure out sometime in the very short term future, and maybe the city attorney can address this at some point. But yeah, we're faced with a challenge of getting a quorum going. So we had some contracts that were deadline. We actually held the meeting. The meeting started about 45 minutes late before we were able to call enough people that were already pre-registered. So we did meet a quorum. We did do some housekeeping. But that is a challenge for us. So on another note, one of the things that I enjoy the most about serving on the council is that I get communication from the community on almost a daily basis. You might notice that I have fewer lapel pins because even one of the residents said, "Hey, are you trying to be a general up there or what?" But so I think I appreciate the feedback that I get from the community, and certainly keep it coming. One of the things that I value about being here is being your voice. So please, I appreciate all the communication that I get. So, but with that, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I had a SACOG board meeting last week. We went over more budget items and a couple of closed session items. But more importantly, what came out of that is that we're still grappling with how are we going to manage the federal funding that's coming down into the state of California and down to local jurisdictions, and making sure that each community gets their fair share. I made sure I shared with staff some of the grant deadlines are fast approaching, but we really don't have, most jurisdictions do not have the ability to pivot so quickly. So we're trying to scramble together to see how we can work in collaboration to make sure that we're all getting what we need. We need paved roads, we need more transportation. There's special projects that we need to have done in our communities. And that's becoming more and more difficult as the timeline and the fundings on these projects are, on these grants, are coming up really quickly. So we're trying to figure that out as fast as we can and make sure that we're advocating for our communities. And as always, I'm a strong voice for Citrus Heights. I'm probably the loudest one in the room about why we need what we need. And if I have my way about it, we'll get it. Next item.
And Mayor Middleton, I would just like to note that Councilmember Bruins has joined us.
Oh, wonderful.
Good evening, everybody.
Evening. Do you have any updates for us?
Sure. Thank you for indulging my duplicitous calendar this evening. First of all, I'd like to report from the PAL board meeting that we were able to visit 25 houses for the Easter Egg My House, which is a lot of fun. We also have put an offer out to a person to be the PAL coordinator. And once that is confirmed, I'll announce who that is. And then from the Regional Sanitation Board meeting that we had yesterday, we had budget workshops on both Regional San and on the Sacramento Area Sewer District. And I'm very happy to report that SASD has had no rate increases for the past 12 years, and we don't anticipate any in the near future. Then the other significant matter was a report, our quarterly report on the Echo Water project out of the wastewater treatment plant. This project, as you know, has been under construction for a number of years, and we have to be live online by 2023. And so it's really winding down now. We have come in under budget and ahead of deadline, which is always music to my ears and a familiar theme in Citrus Heights. So we'll be getting fewer reports on that, more in the way of just informational going forward. And that is it for me. Thank you. I'm going to mute when I'm not speaking.
Thank you. Next item.
Our
Please.
next item is public comment, and members of the public may address the council on any agenda item of interest to the public and within the council's purview, or on any agenda item before or during the council's consideration of the item. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each. If you wish to address the council during the meeting, please complete a speaker identification sheet and give it to myself. If participating via Zoom, use the raise hand function to indicate your desire to speak. When your name is called, I will allow you to unmute your microphone to speak. And at this time, I have not received any speaker identification sheets from the public in the audience, and I do not see any raised hands.
Next item, please.
The next item is consent calendar items 8, 9, 10, and 11. Mayor, we just had somebody raise their hand.
Awesome. Backtrack.
Honor Bailey, if you'd like to speak, you have 3 minutes. Honor Bailey, your microphone is muted. Okay, we may be having problems with that.
Well, sorry we had to miss that. We'll move along.
So our next item, like I said, is consent calendar items 8, 9, 10, and 11.
The pleasure of the council.
Pull number 9 for a separate vote, please.
We're going to pull number 9. Please put it to the end of the agenda.
Okay, and I'd move approval on items 8, 10, and 11.
Okay. Motion by Miller, second by Daniels. We'll need a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Bruins,
Aye.
Councilmember Daniels, Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Schaefer,
Aye.
and Mayor Middleton.
Aye.
And so taking the next item, item 9 will be heard at the, you said the end of the agenda?
Changed my mind. We can take it now.
Okay. Item number 9, the subject is second reading of the fireworks regulation and enforcement ordinance. The recommendation is to adopt an ordinance amending chapter 38 of the Citrus Heights Code relating to fireworks.
Move approval.
Second.
Bruin second.
A roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Bruins,
Aye.
Councilmember Daniels.
No.
Councilmember Miller,
I'm going to approve it. Yes.
Vice Mayor Schaefer,
Aye.
and Mayor Middleton.
Aye. Next item, please.
Next item is public hearing. Item number 12. The subject is AB 481, military equipment policy for the police department. The recommendation is to introduce for a first reading, read by title only, and waive the full reading. An ordinance adopting a military equipment policy of the city of Citrus Heights, California, governing the use of military equipment.
Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor Middleton, Vice Mayor Schaefer, council members, City Manager Feeney, Chief Turcott, and members of the audience. I am Lieutenant Jason Baldwin. I'm a patrol watch commander with the Citrus Heights Police Department. I also manage the traffic and the SWAT team. Tonight, I'm here to discuss California Government Codes Chapter 770 through 775, also known as AB 481. This is the law enforcement and state agencies and military equipment and funding and acquisition and use bill that was passed on September 30th, 2021 by Governor Gavin Newsom. This law lists and defines equipment used by law enforcement agencies, which must be approved by their governing body, you. California agencies using equipment listed in the law must begin to obtain governing body approval by May 1st, 2022. List proposed policies regarding the use of the equipment on their website 30 days prior to the first reading before their governing body. Allow for public comment and present a second reading to their governing body before a vote. On March 22nd, 2022, our police department listed the proposed policy on our website for public viewing. That's Citrus Heights Police Department Policy 706. Included in the policy is the list of equipment used by CHPD as defined in the new law. Examples of the equipment are our SUAS, or our drones, command vehicles, which is the large white CHPD motorhome looking thing. Our ERV, which is our emergency rescue vehicle. In the law, it's called an MRAP. Less lethal weapons, munitions, and many more items that have been listed in the policy. We are not requesting any additional equipment than was listed on the proposed policy that was included in your council agenda packet on March 24th. All the equipment listed has been used in our department for years. This is a public hearing on the adoption of the proposed policy. It is staff recommendation that the city council introduce for our first reading of an ordinance and waive the reading of the entire ordinance an ordinance of the City of Citrus Heights, California, to adopt CHPD Policy 706, military equipment, as written and posted on the CHP website. Any questions?
Any questions? Go ahead, Steve.
Lieutenant,
Yes.
we
Is that
show,
feedback from me?
pardon? I don't know where that's coming from.
Okay.
We
Yes, sir.
show a number of robots. Are those all our robots? Do we have to list things like from the sheriff's bomb squad?
The answer is no, that those are not our robots. I wish they were, but they're not.
Yeah,
Um,
I do too.
we had to include, or we wanted to include things that we would ask for
In mutual aid.
from mutual aid.
Yeah.
The Sacramento County Sheriff's Bomb Squad has a very nice robot that has helped us out multiple times in the past, and we wanted to include those things in our policy.
Perfect. Thank you. I just wanted to say not all the things we
That's
have-
correct.
we own.
That's correct.
We do utilize them for times. Thank you.
Yes. Any other questions? Thank you for your time.
Mayor, this is a public hearing, and there is the introduction of the ordinance for the council's consideration.
Okay, so that's my cue to open said public hearing. Right?
Yeah.
Got it. Here we are.
I do not have any speaker cards that were filled out, and I do not see any raised hands.
No one in the audience running up here. So we're going to close the public hearing. There we go. And now what is the pleasure of the council?
I move approval.
Motion by Bruin, second by Daniels. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Bruins,
Aye.
Councilmember Daniels.
Aye.
Councilmember Miller,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Schaefer,
Aye.
and Mayor Middleton.
Aye, unanimous approval. And next item, please.
Next item is department reports, and we have none. So the next item is city manager items.
What you have, Mr. Feeney?
Evening, Madam Mayor, members of council. Do have a couple of brief updates here. Got a couple of slides that accompany you. If we can go to the next slide. So we talked about previously, we were talking about a Public Works showcase event where it was more of a meet the machines, the big Tonka trucks coming out for the community to experience and learn about and understand what goes into servicing the infrastructure in the community. So we're going to have a lot of our partners turning out, our Public Works, our General Services Department, excuse me, is going to be putting this on. And they have a flyer that they put together here, and it's at Van Buren Park on May 19th from 2 to 6 p.m. And we're excited about this, and we're working with a lot of our partners, the school district, certainly our local high schools with Mesa Verde and San Juan, as well as vocational schools, to get the word out and expose a lot of our folks of all ages to opportunities, vocational opportunities they may not have thought about. And it should be a fun event. If you look for a snow cone, you can find one there, as well as some kettle corn and other good stuff. So hopefully we'll see a lot of folks turn out there. I'd love to see council members there if your schedule allows. And it should be a great event, one we're looking forward to, and we'll be getting the word out. If you'd like a copy of this flyer for your own social media channels, we'll make sure to put it in your hands. Next slide, please. Arcade Cripple Creek. This kind of makes me want to get one of those flat ranger hats or a Boy Scout uniform or something with the trail there. So excited to announce that the Arcade Cripple Creek Trail project will be advertised for construction bids beginning tomorrow. And if we have a favorable outcome on the bid process, we'll work towards a construction contract so we can get construction started towards late summer, early fall. So more good news on that front. Be a great community amenity. So those are a couple of the updates that I had. I think that concludes them.
Thank you for those updates. Next item, please.
Next item is items requested by council members or future agenda items.
Anything? Right bunch, gosh. Well, seeing as we have nothing else to talk about, I'll adjourn. Have a great night.